Hey guys, I'm Coach Travis. I appreciate everybody taking the time to join the call. I'm going to get started here with the Zoom orientation. And for today's call, the this is about kind of our three main programs: the mini golfers, which are ages 3 to 6. We've got our junior Operation 36 program, and then we have our adult Operation 36 program as well. So. I'm going to go into just the different programs, and then at the end there'll be some time for some Q&A if you guys have any follow-up questions that you'd like to ask. And then if we're recording this call, so I'll send the link out too in case you want to share it with anybody. And if there's other questions after the call that come up, don't be afraid to send me an email. So let's get started. So we're at two locations here in Carlsbad. So you guys are signed up for the La Costa program. We also have one at Rancho Carlsbad, and they're basically the same program, but for whichever one that you've signed up for. So since this is the La Costa programming, all of your programming will be done at La Costa. So that includes the classes and the 9-hole challenges, which are hosted on Sundays, and those dates are already available and were sent out in the welcome email. So, kind of went through some of the three main programs. We also have an Operation 36 intermediate level program. That's for players who move through our program and kind of moved into levels 4 and up. And I'll get into the levels what those mean in a little bit with the call. And then we also do PGA Junior League. We do that both at La Costa and at Rancho Carlsbad. It's kind of like Little League baseball or softball for golf. And so you can see a picture there. It's me and some of the kids a few years ago. And the bright orange, those were our jerseys for that year. They get their names on the back and they can pick a number. And it's a team format, and so it's fun. They play a two-person scramble. If you're interested in your kids getting more involved than what they're doing with the Operation 36 program, just because it's more for ages 6 and up, I think for the PGA Junior League, that's an option too. And then we offer private lessons both at La Costa and at Rancho Carlsbad. And then our summer camps, we do them at both locations. Rancho Carlsbad summer camps will be open February 1st, and then La Costa's will be open February 1st for members only, or there'll also be like a buy now price if you want to really lock in your date. Otherwise, those will open March 1st at La Costa for everybody else, for the public. A little bit about myself. So I've been a PGA member now for 10 years, and I've been in the PGA program in total for 13 years. And I'm originally from Northern California. I coached golf in China for 5 years. And then I've gotten my two boys. They've been in the program since the beginning. One of them's 5, and the other one is 8. And before the academy started, I actually started a podcast called the Raising Golfers Podcast, and that kind of stirred up the ideas of how to get this golf academy started. And it's still a live podcast. We'll actually share some links on our weekly email. Highly encourage anybody who's in sports or have kids that are in sports. There's some really good resources in there from interviews with other coaches and parents and players. So yeah, we'll be sending those links out. And so the academy staff, this is actually probably about half of it now, just because we added La Costa a little over a year, no, just about a year ago. I'm sorry. And so we have some of the coaches from La Costa that help out on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And then we've also got some additional staff, but you'll see a variety of these coaches out of the classes. For your class day, you'll pretty much see the same coaches for each class. And so, depending on the class size, you might have 2 or 3 coaches in your class, and those will be the same coaches that you'll have for the whole semester. I added this slide maybe 6 months ago because it's a common question that gets asked usually at the end of the presentation. So I thought I'd put it at the beginning. If you have golf clubs, I would encourage you to bring them to the class, and then we can assess them. So if it's for the kids, if we can see they're too short or too long, we've got other clubs they can borrow in the meantime. For the adults, we've had some ladies bring like their husbands or a set or an old set that might be a little long and heavy, and again we've got some other sets that you can borrow in the meantime. You don't need to go out and buy new clubs. I would wait until, you or your child is showing commitment to the sport, and then come talk to us, because then we can send you in the right direction, where to get the best clubs and how to access them and all that. And we appreciate when students and families come to us for that. For attire, wear comfortable clothing. If you can wear golf attire, great. I think it would look good at La Costa, but you don't need to go out and buy it. We just say, try to avoid cutoffs. Shorts are totally fine, or skirts for the ladies. And yeah, with shoes, I think comfortable shoes is totally fine. So. For the kids, I would even say they probably don't even need golf shoes. A lot of times it kind of tears up the green because they're not used to walking with spikes on that short grass. So, and then same for the adults, I would just get comfortable shoes for now. Again, you don't need to go out and buy a bunch of stuff. Wait until really immerse yourself in the sport and find that this is something that you want to do. And then, by all means, kind of dive deep like the rest of us diehard golfers have done over the years. So for the facility use at La Costa, La Costa is a member golf course and it's also a resort. So on the side, there should be a map coming up here of where you're going to park. That's actually the members side of the driving range. It's the far west side of the range. That's just for members only. So if you come early to class or you're staying around late, that's just a side we kindly ask just to not be hitting on unless you are a member of the club or if you're staying at the course or at the facility during those dates. And then, for the people who can use the facility, it's for students of the program and, of course, members. So we do, and the golf course is asked just to let everybody know that parents and siblings and family members should not use the practice area during the class time, unless, of course, you are a member or a guest of the resort. And so we would appreciate that. Here it is. So with the meeting point and parking. So the parking is right off of El Camino. As soon as you take the main entrance into La Costa, you're going to take the very first right. There's going to be it's kind of before the big arches. There's going to be a security gate there with an arm. I sent out maybe about an hour or two ago the new QR code. You can actually click and add it to your wallet, and so that you have it. And so that QR code's good for the length of the semester, and basically it gets you in and out of the parking lot. And there's like a little kind of like glass screen that you can just hold your phone up to, and then you should be able to get into the gate, in and out of the gate using that. And then after parking, there's a little walk that kind of goes along the tennis courts, and you'll see where we check in. We check in on the far east side of the driving range, and we'll be checking in at that spot for every single class. If it's for the kids, if it's the first class, and especially the mini golfers, we encourage the parents to walk the kids down over there for the class, and then after that, if you're comfortable picking up and dropping off your kid at the parking lot for the older groups, I would say for most likely 8 and up, then that's totally fine. So the first program we're going to talk about is the mini golfers. So this is for the program for the kids who are between the ages of 3 and 6. Uh, we've been running this program for almost 5 years, and we call it play to learn because the activities and things that we do in the class is really just play based. And so the instruction is very light. We do have some phrases that we use for the instruction that's, we repeat over and over throughout the semester. And each class is kind of based around our mascot, Golfosaurus. I need to get him on this slide here. And we say he's the best golfing dinosaur in the entire universe. And each class, there's a little story behind what the kids are trying to do and how they can help out Golfosaurus. So sometimes they go to the Wild West, or they might go to outer space, or it could be Olympics. And so we've got these fun warm-up activities and different activities that they're doing. And so it's almost like they're learning and playing golf without really learning or realizing that they're learning golf. And we just want to make it like a really fun and positive experience for this age group so that hopefully, whether they know they're doing golf or not, they just have these memories where it's like they're really excited to come back to the classes. And then it also includes on the same day of the 9-hole challenges for Operation 36, which we'll get into, the mini golfers also play, and we call them 9-hole play days. And so it's to get the kids out onto the golf course. For the mini golfers, there's no need to keep score. It's just going out and having fun. And we have the tee markers adjusted and set up very close to the holes for the 9 holes that they can play out on the golf course. And so the more we can get these kids out on the golf course, I think the better. So with the kind of learning by play, a lot of the kind of theory and things that we're doing with some of the fine motor skills and things that we're teaching the kids, there's more than that they get out of the program. And in the balloons that you can see there, there's a lot of things that I think that they're going to learn. And just by having this kind of fun and safe developmental program for them, where they really feel like they can just kind of come and socialize, have fun, try new skills, try new things, try new tasks. And it's similar to if parents, if you volunteered in your kids' preschool or kindergarten classes, I think how we teach the class, there's a lot of commonalities to that with the kids, and because that's where they are currently developmentally, socially, all those kinds of things. And so, yeah, you'll see it with the class, and we encourage the parents to come and stay, participate, hang out in the classes as well for the mini golfers. So we've got just a short little video. This is just of some of the mini golfers and some of the classes, and there's a couple pictures. There's actually we will see Golfosaurus on here, and it's just a fun little video just to kind of see that these mini golf, these little guys, they can come in. The first few classes they don't know how to hold the club. They could be gripping it the wrong way. They might be kind of like pushing and sweeping the ball. But then sticking with this for some of our students have been in this for multiple years. Like they started at 3 and they're still in the mini golfers program at age 5, where they just, come back semester after semester. They all of a sudden have these little golf swings. So I'm just gonna play this short little video. It's kind of fun and cute to see these kids having fun. So you can see we've got lots of different games and cool, colorful visual things for the kids, and I think it just kind of sets the environment for a lot of fun, and hopefully the kids will really enjoy it. You might have seen in there too, we use tennis balls with the mini golfers, and for all our classes, safety is our number one priority. And so we've got a good track record over the years with safety. And in our welcome email, there's a little link in there with some of our safety guidelines. And each and every class, all semester long, at every station, we go over the same safety rules for the kids. And even in the first class, we spend a little bit extra time going over what those safety rules are, just so that the kids know what the language is that we're using, so they understand where to be, where not to be, when to swing, when not to swing. But if you could read those with your kids at home, it would only help just make sure that our environment continues to stay safe. And so I'd appreciate that for the mini golfers, the Operation 36 Juniors, and heck, adults, you guys can read through it too if you're new to golf, because I think it'll be very helpful for you. Okay, so we're going to move into the Operation 36 program. This is for the adults and for the juniors. If you're on the call because you had a mini golfer, I would encourage you to stay on the call, just because this is the next program after the mini golfers. There's actually a crossover age for our mini golfers in Operation 36 program, which is 6. And so we have some mini golfers stay mini golfers at the age of 6. We have some shift over to Operation 36. I always say to the parents, because they ask me, do you think my kid's ready? And for me, the big thing is not necessarily skill wise. It's kind of more like how are they emotionally, socially, and the parents, you guys will know that better than we will. It's just because as you move into the Operation 36 program, the classes are a little bit longer. There's more structured coaching, and then also when they do the 9-hole challenges, you start to keep score, which can be tough for some of the little guys when maybe they see somebody else get a certificate and they don't. So um, just one of those things. I'm happy to have conversations with parents about that anytime. So we're moving into the Operation 36 program. So over the years, when I started out coaching, I made a lot of mistakes. I still make mistakes and try to learn as best as possible from these. But I used to tell my students, I used to say, hey, you're not ready for the golf course yet. You've got to, take some sort of amount of lessons so you can learn the etiquette, you can learn where to start, you can learn, what clubs to use, how to swing them, all that. And even if we did take some of the players out in the golf course the traditional way, what would happen is, you take them out, they've got all these clubs, the golf balls going all over, zigging and zagging across the golf course. There's lots of hits, there's lots of different shots, there's all these terminologies, and it just becomes a little bit frustrating. And there's really no plan because it's like there's just so much going on that it's hard to grasp, you know, what do I even do next time I come out? So, what's cool about the Operation 36 program is that everybody is working towards the same thing on the golf course. And so when you're playing in these 9-hole challenges on those Sundays that we've already scheduled for this next semester in February and March, you're trying to shoot a score of 36 or lower for 9 holes in the golf course. And the first time you do it, regardless of what your current skill level is you're going to be starting close to the hole and you're going to be focusing on chipping and putting. And again, if you don't know what those are, you'll be learning about these in class, but they're smaller sized hits. Once you start to progress in our program by shooting 36 or lower, then you'll start to move back and then you'll start to understand and learn how to use some of the other clubs that are needed to then be able to start scoring from those distances. What's great about it is the time. So using this format that golf can take a long time, especially if you're playing 18 holes from the full length on a busy day. But even at La Costa, we've seen our first few groups come in even in an hour and 15 minutes playing 9 holes. And I would say, just generally speaking, 2 hours or less is kind of the average right now at La Costa, even as the tee times kind of get later throughout through the event. And again, it's very goal centered. You're not trying to come in first place. You're just trying to shoot a score that's, hopefully better than your previous one. And you're trying to get to that score. What 36 is called par in golf. And if you can shoot 36 or lower, then again, you progress and you start to, move further and further away from the hole and learn some new skills. And it's very simple. Again, learn the small hits first, learn what it takes to score first, and then start to kind of add clubs into the bag and learn different types of shots. So the three kind of main kind of big things about the Operation 36 program, it's on course improvement is the number one thing. We're going to try to, depends on your golf class, get you out on the golf course as well in the classes as much as possible. And how you progress through our program is how you perform and do on the golf course. And it's not expected to happen right away. I know a lot of kids think that they're going to pass all of our levels on their first attempt. There's some really fascinating data behind that, which we can talk about maybe at another time. But after that, we've got the built-in curriculum. So there's different things that we'll be teaching within the classes, which we'll touch base on. And then there's the Operation 36 app, which has all kinds of tools from drills to tracking your scores. I'm going to pause here. It's very important that everybody, including the mini golfers, downloads the Operation 36 app. Please don't just go to the App Store and download it. If you go into the welcome email, there's a unique link that links us to our La Costa Academy. And if you click that link, then you can create the account. So for parents, you will be the family admin, and then you'll add your children as the students. For the adults, you're the family admin and you are the student, and you can create your account there. Once you have your account created, we'll get a notification, and then we will link your program up. So then you'll be able to have a calendar. So you'll see when the next 9-hole challenges are. You'll get notifications. We'll go into a little bit more of that. But I'll be doing that over the next week or so. So you might, if you set up your account today or already have, you might say, oh, I've set it up, but it doesn't show a program yet. It's just because we haven't linked it up yet, and we'll be doing that. So back to the 9-hole challenges on Sundays. So on the golf course, when you're playing the very first one, you're play all 9 holes from 25 yards off the green. Once you shoot 36 or lower, level two, you would play all 9 holes at 50 yards. If you pass that, you get to level three. You'd play all 9 holes at 100 yards. Then it goes 150, 200, and then it moves back to our full tees. And so over the years, we've been running this program, our almost 5 years. Our 5-year anniversary is coming up in March. We've had a handful of players make it to level nine, which is basically equivalent to, if you're a golfer on this call, like what the blue tees would be at a golf course. And level 10 is like the furthest back tee box, which, Acosta they call them T1. Some other places they have black tees or different colors they call the tips. So we've seen players go through this program over the years and get to that point. If you can get to level 10, I mean, shoot, even if you're at level 9 and you're close to shooting par, you're as a junior golfer, you're pretty much ready to play college golf. And if you're an adult getting to those levels, I would say that you're ready to compete in some high-level amateur events. So again, those are scheduled. You'll see them on the welcome email. And again, they'll also be plugged into the Operation 36 app once we have that all linked up. So just kind of like a general schedule, the blue dots there, that's like our weekly classes. And then the orange dots is just kind of where the 9-hole challenges fall. All of ours actually are going to be shifted to Sundays for February, March. We have had some semesters where we do a Saturday and Sunday alternation. And we try to split them up so they're kind of, almost every other week, but it depends on the golf course availability or first week or first Sunday, the Super Bowl Sunday. So I don't want to make that mistake again and book a 9-hole challenge on that day. And but yeah, it's again, it's quite spread out and it's super fun. So when we do have the 9-hole challenges, I believe the first one is February 15th. And when we have that, we'll send a sign up sheet out via email. And so that's where you'll be signing your kids up. And same with the mini golfers. And so you'll need to add the student's name or the player's name. So if it's your child, please put your child's name on there. Or if it's the adult, you can put your name on there. We usually put the mini golfers, we'll tee off on the earlier starting times, and then we'll have the juniors tee off next, and then we have the adults at the end. All right, we're going to get into a basic structure of a class. So for Operation 36, so there's the Operation 36 education. You'll see some of those here in the next couple slides. Each class is going to have a different topic. So, for example, the first week it could be green reading on the short game area, and it might be ball flight on the driving range. And so we'll split the classes up into 2 or 3 groups, depending on the class size. And let's just say it's 2 groups. One group's going to start on the short game area, one's going to start on the driving range. They're going to be learning the topic and skills for the day, depending on what their levels are in the program. And then we're going to give them we have a challenge board where we've got these tasks where you can be working on different skills related to the curriculum. And then we'll finish with some sort of fun activity or a game. And then after that, about 30-minute period, then the 2 groups swap places. If your class is a little bit larger size, that's usually our Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursday classes. We have a third group that will go out onto the golf course for the entire hour. And then that'll shift. So let's just say, group 3 is on the golf course week 1. Well, on week 2, the group 2 is now on the golf course, and then those guys are in. And so it's cool. We're able to get people out on the golf course, and we've got at La Costa we can use. They have these big 4-seater golf carts where we can get the players out onto the golf course. So these are just some of these are the curriculum topics in Operation 36. We will not cover all of these in one semester. We usually focus on actually 2 or 3 because after about 3 or 4 weeks we do skills testing, and so this is where we are actually skills testing the students, and we do this for the adults as well, just to make sure you have an understanding of what you've been learning, and then you also have to perform it by hitting a certain amount of shots. So level 1 curriculum, so let's say you're starting out, it's going to be it's going to be more basic instruction. As you start to pass the level, so let's say you're on level 3 and we're talking about posture. So what the person at level 1's learned about posture and what the person about level 3 has learned about posture, they're going to be different things because we want to be able to coach you to where you are and the level you are in our program. We have this in almost every class. There's students with different levels. So you might have a few students that are level 1. You might have a few students that maybe one's a level 3 and one's a level 4. So we'll introduce the topic to everybody for the day, and then what we'll do as coaches is go around and then coach each person individually and talk to them individually about what they are supposed to be focusing on and learning based on what their levels are in the program. Now, this next part, this is helpful, especially for parents, but then, for the adults in the program too. if your kids are anything like my kids, I'll ask them, "Hey, how was school today?" "Oh, it was great." "What'd you do?" "I don't know." "What'd you learn?" "I don't know." Well, we send a weekly email out, and in the weekly email at the bottom, we list what we're going to be coaching for that week. So we might say, okay, so this week we're learning about grip and green reading. Well, you can go in the Operation 36 app, and there's a button. Actually, I'll go here. It says View My Curriculum. You can click that button, and it'll default to what level the student is in. And then you could just scroll down and look, okay, so where's green reading? Where's grip? You can click it, and there's like a short 2-minute video, and it'll be a video on basically what we were instructing to your child. And this is for the dads especially. I've heard this over the years. I see it now with my own kids that they don't want to listen to what dad has to say with their advice when they're trying to help out because dad doesn't know, according to the kids. But coach knows, that's what they think, right? And even if dad's saying the same thing coach says, dad, you can go on, you can go see what we've been instructing, and then just say, hey, this is what I know your coach has been working on with you. Here's, what I'm seeing that's related to that. I think it resonates a lot better with the kids if they hear that this is what coach is saying, not necessarily what dad says. So that's a great way just to kind of stay connected to, what we're doing in the classes. And again, for the adults, we've got, the ladies, they love using this feature, going back and watching the videos, and it's just great for review. We hand out these little sheets every month. It's homework. We call them monthly drills. And so some of them you actually have to get into the app and you have to watch a short little video. So you can actually see there the one that's listed there in the middle of the screen says the umbrella. It's probably like a 30-second video. It just shows you how to set it up, how to score it. And then basically what you do is the students will do this practice on their own time, and then they can basically write down their scores on the sheet of paper. If you bring that sheet back to the last class of the month, then you get into our monthly drills contest and you can win some cool prizes. And we do this for the adult programs as well. So again, another great tool from the app. And again, highly encourage you to download it today, hopefully. So we do get some rain this time of year. Hopefully, we don't have to cancel any classes. With rain, we don't cancel until last minute. And then if the rain is and the course is, let's say the course is open and the rain is light and the course is safe and playable conditions, we still carry on having our classes. In the event that something does happen, we have to cancel, we'll send an email, but we'll also send a notification to the app. So another good tool to have with the app is just with the communication part. So when you do a 9-hole challenge or we'll log your scores after that, so you don't have to do that. But if you go play on your own or you're practicing on your own, we encourage you to interact and use the app. It's great for us coaches to see that you are putting in the time, that you are practicing, and it's also, I think, quite rewarding because there's a community page on the app where you can actually see what people are doing, and I think it's a good motivational boost for kids or for adults to kind of get out and participate and play. What's cool about this is over time, it actually tracks a lot of data. So this student, they started with us in the fall of 2021. They've made it up to level 8. And so what's cool is we can look back to see, okay, what was their score and the date when they passed, all their levels? How much have they improved? Well, it says there kind of in the middle of the screen that number is 67. It says they improved or they've lost 67 strokes since the time they started in our program. It shows how many rounds of golf they've logged, how many training sessions they've done. And so it's just kind of a cool resource. There's lots of resources that we can get out of and extract out of the app. So again, highly encourage you guys to utilize the resources within the Operation 36 app. Uh, We've got different platforms. You guys have already signed up for the class, so you've seen our enrollment portal. I'm going to just kind of move down to the bottom. Our Academy calendar. It's on our website. There's a link to it also in the email that I sent, the welcome email. But this is just another great resource. So it has on there when our summer camps are opening, when the semester starts, when the semester ends, when the 9-hole challenges are. Again, once you have the Operation 36 app downloaded, I link you to the program. You will also have a calendar on your app as well. So, but that's just a backup resource for anybody that just kind of wants to get everything on the calendar as soon as possible. If you have any friends that want to still sign up for the program, there's still some spots in a few select classes. You can take a picture of this QR code. That's the enrollment portal. We've also had some people leave us some reviews on Google. And that's we have two different actually sites on Google, one's at La Costa, one's at Rancho Carlsbad. If you'd like, you're welcome to read through those, or after having a class, leave us a review. We'd really appreciate that. And yeah, I'm just going to kind of end here with this quote on the bottom. In the podcast, this gentleman, Jim Hardy, he works for a company called US Kids Golf, and they're kind of like the biggest golf club building company for kids in the world. And then they also have different tours, like tournaments that kids can play in worldwide. And so Jim's been with them for a number of years, but his quote to me was make golf fun enough, long enough so they can't get enough. And we want to make this experience for you and your whole family super positive. We hope that you fall in love with the game of golf because it's just such a fun sport and it's something that you can do for the rest of your lives. And for adults and parents, it's something that you can do with your family for the rest of your lives as well. So I saw there was a couple questions come through on the chat here, and I'm just going to see here if there's anything else. If I'm going to open it up here for a few minutes, if anybody has any additional questions from things that I did not cover. And again, if you think of something after the call, you're welcome to shoot me an email, and I'll also send out the recording of this call to everybody as well. So I'll just pause for a second and just see if anybody has any questions. All right. Well, I must have covered everything. If not, again, feel free to shoot me an email. We're really excited to meet all of you guys. We'll see you guys all next week with the program beginning. If you sign up for Tuesdays, our first classes are on Tuesdays next week. And then obviously we'll have our classes throughout the rest of the semester. One add-in actually we'll add that I didn't cover were makeup classes. So our makeup policy is kind of like flying standby. So if you miss a class, you're welcome to show up to another class, but we may not know if you can join the class until the day of when you show up. And so you can kind of just come to a class, and if there's a spot that's open that somebody didn't show up to and the class isn't full, then you're happy to jump in at any time. And so, and that would be for an equivalent class. So a mini golfer would want to show up to another mini golfer class. A junior operation 36 would want to show up to another one. An adult class would want to show up to another adult class. So we don't want you to miss class. We understand that things come up, and if you can make it up, we'd love to have you be able to make it up as well. And but yeah, that's our makeup policy, just in case, so you guys all know. Well, let's see here. Did I get one more? Okay, awesome, perfect. Well, I appreciate your guys' time. Thanks so much for taking the time to come and learn a little bit more about our program, and we'll see you guys all next week. Thanks so much. Take care.